There's no business like show business, like no business I know.
Hi guys, Stagey here. So this is not the video that I wanted to upload, and I'm sorry, there's been such a long gap since the last video and this one. I ran into some technical issues with the video that I was hoping to do, and I'm trying to get them all sorted out, but I figured rather than, constantly be having what subscribers I do have waiting for another upload when I said I was going to try and do a weekly one, I figured it was better to just kind of do this one. So as you've seen by the title, hopefully, this is essentially my recommendations for stagey things to watch or listen to during this whole thing that is going on at the moment. And hopefully it will take your mind off things while also being incredibly stagey, so it's a win-win. And let me just say that this is literally only barely a handful of the various things that are out there. There are so many organisations and Broadway people and West End people who are, doing so much to just try and keep people's spirits up and keep creativity up, and it is incredible, and they all deserve a shout out. So this is by no means an extensive list of things for you to check out. It's just they're the ones that kind of just came to me in the moment. And they're in no particular order as well. This is, these are all equally effective and equally good to just kind of try out. Hopefully, I'd imagine a lot of you would have seen a lot of these, but if you haven't, check them out, honestly, because they are all incredible. Submissions Only was a web series that was created by Kate Weatherhead and Andrew Keenan-Bolger, centering around a young, trying to be up and coming Broadway actress. In between kind of going on auditions and stuff, she also has work as a reader. It's a very fun web series. It doesn't take itself at all seriously. It's very light, very frothy. There's nothing really awful that happens in it. It's just kind of the various shenanigans that can happen in the kind of in the world of, just auditioning and trying to get your big break or whatever. There's a lot of Broadway people who pop up in the series. Most of them are only in cameos, so most of them don't appear from more than one episode and more than one scene within that episode, but every single one of them is worth it, and I guarantee you will be watching an episode and there will be at least 5 occasions when you're just like, oh, that's, Kristen Chenoweth or whoever. Honestly, I think pretty much everyone who was involved in a Broadway production at the time that the series was being produced cameoed in it at least once. It's got great original songs by some great and really underrated composers, like Adam Guan does a lot of music in it, and it's all fantastic. There are a lot of fake bad shows in the series. If you think kind of Working Boys from The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, it's on a par with that. It's, as I said, it's very funny. The stakes in it are very low because it's constantly kind of, will she end up with this guy who's played by Santino Fontana, by the way, which, is its own reason to check it out, in my opinion. And, will she end up with this guy? Will she get a part on Broadway? The stakes are relatively low. One downside to it is that all the episodes were up on YouTube. They were recently taken down and moved to the Stage Network, I think it's called, which somewhat unfortunately is a subscription site. So if you want to watch the episodes, you do unfortunately have to pay for it. And they have a lot of documentaries and other kind of web series and various other things to kind of keep your interest once you're there. But I mean, really, I do use my subscription purely for watching Submissions Only, and in my opinion, it's worth it. It Could Be Worse is kind of Submissions Only's darker, edgier, emo cousin. Like that is genuinely the best way I could think to describe it. It was created by Wesley Taylor and Mitch Jarvis. It essentially kind of focuses on the same thing. It's about an up-and-coming, struggling actor who is trying to get his big break, sort out his complete mess of a love life. And it's just all about kind of the trials and tribulations that he goes through. It's a lot more bleak than Submissions Only, and it's a lot more cynical than Submissions Only, and it's actually a lot more adult than Submissions Only. It's definitely not for everyone. I'm looking down this list, and there are a couple here that are created by Wesley Taylor. I think it's just his kind of style of doing things, but I will say that anything I mentioned that Wesley Taylor either created or had a hand in creating is just not for kids. I very much enjoyed it. It's something that you can't really watch more than once, I think, certainly like between long stretches, because it is just very cynical about show business as a whole. It has a ton of Broadway cameos as well, particularly Smash, because I think it was created around about the same time that season 2 was being filmed. So there are a lot of people from Smash who pop up in It Could Be Worse. It definitely won't be for everyone, but certainly I'd highly recommend checking it out. Star Kid, obviously, I literally kind of watched all of their shows. It was a very long weekend. I watched all of their shows back to back, and I laughed, I cried, it was very emotional. This is an interesting one. So in 2008 or 2009, when Rock of Ages first appeared on the Broadway scene, cast members Mitch Jarvis, Laura Molina and Wesley Taylor created a soap opera web series, and it's incredibly bizarre, but it is also incredibly funny a lot of the time. Again, it's not for kids. A lot of the jokes are very adult. The series came out on iTunes as a podcast when I was 14, and me being the edgy theatre kid that I was, I like lapped it up and found it absolutely hilarious. Looking back, it is definitely not suitable for someone that age, but you know, if you're kind of older than 16, I'd say it's fine. It's insane, but it's hilarious. And you know, again, there are a lot of familiar Broadway faces that pop up in it. There are running gags and storylines, like Wesley Taylor being obsessed with Will Swenson because, of course, Lauren Molina being obsessed with Amy Spanger because, again, of course, Wesley Taylor and one of the ensemble dancers, Angel Reed, have a kind of rivalry going on throughout it. It's also got, starting I think from the 5th episode, there's also a very young, fresh-faced Jeremy Jordan that pops up occasionally, which, you know, that alone is reason enough to check it out. They're all on YouTube. If you search for Rock of Ages Productions or ROA Productions, it will come up. Several organisations are also streaming a lot of shows and concerts. The National Theatre this evening are streaming their National Theatre live capture of Treasure Island. There's also Andrew Lloyd Webber's scheme called The Shows Must Go On, which is broadcasting his really useful group productions of his shows. So they've already done Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Donny Osmond, and the 2012 Jesus Christ Superstar with Tim Minchin and Ben Foster. But the only downside to those is that they only stay up for a limited time. The National Theatre, I know they only keep their productions up on YouTube for a week after the initial streaming. For The Shows Must Go On videos, I think it's something like 3 days that they stay up, so you kind of need to be constantly on the ball with that. There's also a lot of websites streaming Broadway shows and also doing concerts. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of websites that are just hosting all these streams of shows and concerts and things that are if there's one you want to see, it is absolutely worth googling just to see if it's any of these sites schedules to be streamed or uploaded at a certain point, because I mean, I have unearthed some absolute gems. The Broadway.com vlogs, I mean, there has never been a better time to start watching those if you haven't seen them. They are utterly fantastic. Essentially, if you've never come across them before, they are a collection of vlogs that are done by one of the leading actors in any given show, either towards the start of the show's production. You know, they tend to start with the show in rehearsals, and at around about episode 4 they'll, you know, cover the opening and all of that and previews and stuff. Or if it's someone joining a long-running show, it's towards the beginning of them joining the cast, and they run for 8 weeks, so there's 8 episodes of each one. Some of them do run longer. I'm not entirely sure how they decide that, or if it's just a case of the people saying, you know, screw you, I'm enjoying this, I'm not giving the camera back yet. Some shows have more than one. I think Wicked has the most. Phantom as well has an awful lot of them, and they essentially cover like what it's like to be in a Broadway show, and, you know, kind of life backstage and everything to do with that. And there are what I love about them is that every single vlog, even if it's a vlog for a show that's already got a vlog, every single one is completely unique to the person doing it. So you have ones that are very good at showing you kind of the technicalities of backstage life, like Lindsay Mendez's vlog for Wicked when she was in Wicked. You have ones that are just completely nuts and have storylines and, you know, actors playing very heightened versions of themselves. My personal favourite with regards to that group is Christy Altamez vlogs for Anastasia. There's ones that are incredibly just chilled with occasional bouts of complete random insanity, like Ramin Karimlu's vlogs for Les Mis. There's ones that are just pure fun that seem as though, you know, whoever was in charge of the vlog was just like, well, I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, and people can either, you know, like it or lump it, essentially. And, you know, my favourite of that group is definitely Corey Cott's Newsies vlogs. They are just like they're just so completely random from episode to episode, but they are all fantastic. So if you never ever gone on a Broadway.com vlog binge, now is the perfect time to do it, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. The only downside to that is they do, once you've kind of watched 8 episodes of, you know, seeing backstage life of a certain show, you do end up wanting to go and see that show, which it's absolutely worth that bout of disappointment that follows them while you're watching it, because they are all fantastic. Some YouTube channels as well that I've been binging. These are all probably ones I'd imagine people would already know, because they're all much more successful and much better than mine. So I tend to follow their leads a lot. So I imagine they're, you know, me giving them a shout out won't do much for them. There's Amy Lovett, who does a lot of kind of quite in-depth discussions on various Broadway/musical theatre in general issues and topics. She's started recently doing one about Broadway scandals, which have all been very interesting, particularly because, you know, they're the kind of things that you have heard about and maybe have formed opinions on, but she's actually gone and done as much research as she can into the causes and the effects of these scandals, and so I highly recommend watching those. She's also recently started doing Star Kid reactions because apparently she'd never come across them before, which is astonishing to me, but you know, we're theatre kids, we're not necessarily a hive mind yet. Catherine Steele as well has a theatre cult. She does, again, very in-depth looks at various topics more recently concerning the business side of Broadway, which again is something that you kind of hear about and you form your own opinions on. But again, she kind of has researched the implications of various things, researched the causes of various issues, and again, you may end up changing your opinion slightly on things that she talks about. Musical Theatre Mash is another one. He doesn't upload as often as he used to, unfortunately. He does a lot of reactions and does a lot of kind of in-depth look at particularly the history side of things, and it is incredibly interesting, and again, very well researched and very well presented. Again, much better than I ever do. So I highly recommend checking him out. He also has a lot of reactions that he does with his friends. They watch various musical films and react to them. They are hilarious. My personal favourite of those are the Sister Act videos, Sister Act 1 and 2. He also actually has a podcast on iTunes called Jim and Tomic's Musical Theatre Happy Hour, which he does with a friend of his, where they essentially pick a musical, talk about what they like about it, what they don't like about it, what they think could be improved, various good or bad performances that they've seen of it. It's just kind of like having a conversation with your friends, essentially. If you're discussing musical, it has that general kind of feel to it, so I highly recommend checking that out as well. Seth Rudetsky as well. If you don't know who Seth Rudetsky is, he's pretty much his own Broadway institution by now. He is a writer, composer, professional accompanist, performer. He's pretty much everything you could do, particularly with regards to the music side of musical theatre. He has 2 long-running series on his YouTube channels called Obsessed, where he essentially has mini interviews with various people involved on Broadway, not only performers but also musicians. They, tell anecdotes, they joke around a lot, they occasionally perform stuff. It tends, as I said, they are mini interviews, so there tends to be kind of one main anecdote and then a performance related to it. My personal favourites that I would recommend are, again, kind of a double feature, the ones with Kiala Settle and Ramin Karimlu from when they were in Les Mis together. They are just hilarious. They were filmed, I think, kind of literally one right after the other, and there is just so much chaotic energy in that room. It is a glorious thing to watch. And he also has a series called Seth Rudetsky Deconstructs, where he picks songs from various musicals and essentially goes through the song and deconstructs them, both musically and occasionally lyrically, but more focused on the music. And my personal favourite that I'd recommend from that is his deconstruction of Another 100 People from Company, because I have loved that show for years. It was one of the first shows that I kind of really fell in love with, and have listened to it for years and years and years, and there were still things. There was something in particular that he mentioned that I had genuinely never picked up on before, and it actually helped me with my dissertation when I was at university, so that is automatic win. Also, recently he started doing this thing called Stars in the House, which is essentially him and his husband, I think, Skyping with various Broadway stars, and they do interviews, they do performances, they goof around. It is, again, it's kind of essentially just like being with your friends. If your friends happen to be incredibly talented Broadway people, it is just a very fun thing to watch. Once you get past, all the inherent technical issues of doing something on a laptop rather than with a professional camera. Yeah. Also, something that I only literally within the last couple of days found out about, I have no idea how I've missed this for so long. Shitty Broadway, which is, as far as I can gather, it's people from Team Star Kid and Shipwrecked and Tin Can Brothers doing covers of musical theatre songs. My personal favourite at the moment is Kurt Megger singing Dentist from Little Shop of Horrors, holding a power drill with Joey Richter as the patient, and it's like an incredibly dark AU of Spies Are Forever, and it is just glorious. And honestly, I am convinced that Kurt Megger would actually make a great Orange Scrivello in Little Shop of Horrors. That should absolutely be a thing. As I said at the start, this is literally less than a handful of the various things and streams and uploads and videos and series that are currently being made available to us. If you have a particular favourite video that helps you get through the lockdown, like, I don't know, that viral video of the One Day More coronavirus edition that family did, or Ben Platt and the cast of Dear Evan Hansen singing You Will Be Found on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, or Bring Him Home that various West End performers did to try and bring awareness to the NHS and the work that they're doing at the moment. If you have a kind of go-to video or series or site, by all means recommend them in the comments. And yeah, if you haven't seen any of the ones that I've listed, please check them out, because I love each and every one of them and they are all so good. Yeah, as I said at the start, this isn't the video that I wanted to be uploading, but hopefully I will have all the issues with that one sorted out and it will be uploaded next week, and hopefully it will have been worth it. I'm kind of doubting it at the moment, to be honest, but hopefully it will have been worth it once you see what it is. Keep safe, keep well, remember social distancing, washing your hands, all of that health stuff, and I will, one way or another, I'll see you next week, definitely, and I'm sorry that this upload took so damn long. So, yeah. Bye.
There's no people like show. People, they smile when they are low. Even with a turkey that you know will fold, you may be stranded out in the cold. Still, you wouldn't change it for a sack of gold.